Why are we here? What am I going to talk about? Really, really quickly, let me give you a quick introduction of why we started this channel and what is the purpose and why we're going to do this. So simple. I am trying to learn more about AI agents, about AI and how AI systems work. As you know, some of you might already know me from before, but I work at Amazon. I'm a senior manager at Amazon. I lead engineering teams. And part of my job takes me through building AI for various reasons, generative AI, non-generative AI, and we use a lot of different LLMs to, you know, either make decisions or build judges or do other stuff with it, right? And as I go through this journey, I am going to have to re-skill myself to learn more about these things as my team is doing so too, as the scientists and engineers on my team are doing. And while I go through this journey, I am going to test and try and fail and learn and experiment. And I would like you guys to come along. So here's the first ever podcast on agent versus human. Let's start. All right. So why did I keep this name? Very, very simply because I think that's where we're going. We are going to a place where there are going to be agents that are going to do the jobs of humans. And then there are going to be humans that are going to do better than agents. They're going to use agents to do their jobs better. And that's kind of like, just as a funny thing, I thought it'd be cool to name it agent versus human. Let's start with today's presentation. So today I'm going to just talk you guys through, for those of you who do not have heard a lot about it but have little to no understanding of where we are in the process. What is AI? Why is it important? What is it going to do? Where is it going? And how are we going to build it? Whether you're an engineer or not, I think I'm trying to make these for people who do not actually have too much engineering background too. Hang along. So, what is an AI agent? Why do we need AI agents? Why are they here? What do they do? And how do they impact you? An AI agent could be anything, any AI piece of software that is probably helping you do a very particular job. And think about it as someone who can have some sort of decision making capacity, can also analyze information, can make decisions, can give you a comprehensive answer, and possibly converse with you in a manner that you as a human understand. What is AI? Let's start there. Mimicking human intelligence, right, which is very simple. A lot of people understand that. And why is it important? Is because AI systems are now getting to a place where we are probably going to exceed what human intelligence is. Now, there is definitely a debate out there which talks about what is creativity and where does can AI act. Actually, I read something which talked about, can AI really ever be Shakespeare? I don't know. And partly because AI really depends on information that has already been provided until now, at least, right? It's not really thinking or sentinel by itself right now. And so creativity requires a lot of that. And so that's where I think like it's very important to understand that a lot of these AI tools will really enhance humans to do more, right? Instead of doing the simple data entry jobs, you can now do more things with your time, more fruitful things. Now that does come with a little bit of an underlining statement there, which says, yeah, we all will have to reskill, like I am doing here. And that is why we are here, to help you understand this, to help you reskill so that when you go out there, you sound smart. What does AI do? It performs tasks for you. It can do data analysis, language understanding, image understanding. And so like there are a lot of different schools inside of computer science or inside of AI, right? Like computer vision helps it see, right, and understand visually. Then there is NLG, NLP. There are a lot of different parts of technologies that actually come together to build an AI system. The engine might be an LLM, which is what you guys are pretty much familiar with, which is the most famous one is ChatGPT. but really behind the scenes it's using a lot of different things to really like make a decision on data analysis and then understanding and trying to figure out how to answer you. So and then it goes through iterative improvement. And this is another thing is I think we see this as black and white and say no, it doesn't do XYZ. You have to realize that like some of these systems are really really new, right? Like to the point of where we are using it, like they didn't exist 5, 10, 15 years ago, right? I mean, you can possibly go back and say, yeah, I mean, like there were intelligent systems that were existing, maybe starting on 2000s, 2005, right? But not until GPT came out is it became very evident that AI is here. Why is AI important? Just like as you use apps, you will have these AI assistants. And honestly, like if you don't know, this is almost going back to where, where interesting automations came into being. So let's say you use Excel for your job. Let's say you do, a lot of data mining or, you clean up the data before you kind of have to go somewhere. Now, if you did not know how to use Excel automation, you'll have to do it by hand. But Excel automation makes you way more powerful. Now think about this, right? As you use some of these apps, you will have to then start getting into the point of like, do you know prompt engineering? Do you understand how to talk to these AIs, right? Or do you know how to have a conversation in which they can understand you? Can you actually break down some of the tasks? Now, it's very also interesting that I've seen that a lot of these AI agents are good at really doing very small, simple things. So you, as a human, will have to really understand how to do problem solving at scale, which means that we don't think about these things on an average. But if you are an engineer, you go through this exercise where every time you get a big problem, you really have to break it down into multiple small pieces of problems. Now, those problems you give to different systems to solve, right? And you might solve it them yourself, but like you might actually give it to different humans. But you really, what you've done is you've taken a big problem, you've logically broken it down into small bit-sized pieces, and then you give it to systems or humans to solve, or you solve it yourself, right, using different techniques. That's what you got to do with an AI agent. You really have to like say, okay, this is how you want you to think, this is how I want you to kind of analyze this problem, these are the facts that need to go in, this is how I need to create the output. And that's where like multi-agent strategy also comes in. So anyways, like we can talk through that later, but I think you really have to figure out how to interact with these agents. Like, they're coming, and if you don't figure out how to interact with them, you will not necessarily be happy when they're here. Personalized recommendations, this happens all the time. This is your Netflixes of the world, and like all the other apps that would actually give you something personalized. They do a lot of data crunching in the back. Like they have recommendation systems that are very very complicated, and some of these AI systems make them even better. They can tailor it to the T, which means like really to you. And then efficiency, again, you can use Alexa. If you use Google Home, they can kind of converse with you. And now especially with 4.0, that it can actually talk to you like as if a human was talking to you, and it's really really good. And these things are on an exponential curve. That's another thing you have to realize is the human intelligence is not on an exponential curve. These things are on an exponential curve. What does that mean? Basically means that they're going to only get better and better and faster as time passes. Goal of this presentation, as I said, like just kind of talking through you guys through what AI is, why is AI important, where do you go from here, what do we do? What are AI agents? Autonomous entities. An AI agent is an independent system that can make decisions and take actions without direct human control. Now, this is a very interesting thing, right? Like if I define an AI agent, like right, so people get confused on like what is an automation versus an AI agent. A lot of times, automations don't have the ability to contextually make a decision, right? They're not autonomous in the sense that they can actually understand what the context was, go check for the input, understand what needs to happen here, and depending on some parameters, really make a decision. Can you automate something like that? Yes, but it's very very hard because like literally it becomes a nightmare to code something like this. It becomes a workflow system, right? But agents are sitting in the middle of workflow systems now to really really put that decision making that an LLM can come with. that into the picture. Yes, it has issues where it's not 100% right, but as I said, these are growing at exponential pace. So if I were to put my money, I would put it on these systems because they are only going to get better. Perception, as I said, they can get the context right, they can actually figure out, gather information, sense the data, figure out how to make that decision. They're goal driven. You can give them a goal and they can achieve the goal, and they can tell you how to get there, and they'll use multiple different strategies to get there. And they are adaptive. They can process information. There you go. What are the applications? What we have seen up till now, we've seen some personal assistants, we have seen chatbots, we have seen at least these two, and recommendation systems. What is coming in the future is very interesting because robotic process automation is here, right? And these things we've seen till today. But here's what is coming. We have yet to see mass adoption of agents, simple agents that can mimic job roles. And that is what is coming in the future. Imagine if you had a new hire coming out of school and they did not know what to do. And you were like, okay, I'm going to train you to be a social media expert. There are certain things that they learn, right? The tool sets. And then they learn decision making on top of it. And then they learn how to process the data. What if you were to teach this to to a specific agent that just knows how to do this, but is really, really good at it? Why? Because you have the right data using the right kind of model tuning. You also have the right understanding of the context. And then you put in a fine tuned model on top of it that is very, very catered to decision making in that one focused myopic area. That makes it so cool because now you can actually replicate all of the work that could have been done, right? Now, what you can do is you can have that agent be literally an assistant to the person, the human, and that makes the human's job easier and and really lets the human focus more on finding more creative solutions to this, right? So that's what really, really, that's what I think is going. By the way, these are some of the considerations you should have. Like people have issues with these, and like if you look at like 80% people like privacy, transparency, accountability, alignment with the human values. It's huge. Like I don't know where this falls in terms of how these agents will evolve in the future. Where would they end up? But for me, I think has these three, as I said, like reinforcement learning, computer vision, natural language processing, and generation gets like better and better and better with the chips and with the kind of tech that is coming through the pipeline, you will see way, way, way more agents coming through the pipeline. Right? This will basically become a place where you will have hundreds of agents that you can pick from that can help you do very particular jobs. And then you can chain them together to do even bigger and bigger and bigger jobs. And so hopefully this gives you an idea of like where the world is going in terms of AI. I am going to keep, making more videos on this channel. Hope is that the next set of videos I can also actually walk you through some of the platforms that exist, and also like the kind of learning I'm doing, um, and what I've learned and how am I learning, also building some of these agents so that you get an idea of like what these agents are, what can they do, and how do they perform, and how can you use them on your job. So this is one of the things I think anyone who's watching this should really, really think through. If you want to be successful in the next coming 10 years, you cannot sit idle and just, wish. You also cannot hate on agents. Only thing you can do is figure out how to build them, use them, and utilize them to your advantage, which means you imagine if you were in 1940s, 1950s, 1960s in India, or maybe in a country where cars weren't common yet. You were the only one who knew how to drive a truck. Well, that's a skill. And that's where we are. You want to get into this market and you want to learn the skill and you want to learn it as soon as possible and you learn how to tame the agents, how to build them, how to use them, how to create an army of these agents for yourself and for other people around you. And that's what's going to make you more powerful and more important and have a much, much better career out of the next 10 years. So hopefully this helps you. This was interesting for me. This was the first video. Again, I'm going to make more of these over the coming weeks as I learn. The next one would possibly be talking about all the platforms that I'm looking at and how am I learning about them. Maybe I'll give you a demo of like some of those platforms and what they are and what they look like. Ciao for now. Thank you.